Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah.
A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak, Flying with the Foam. And now for today, let's just say that, well, I'm only a few episodes away from the very end of this section of Honest J. Nowak Season 1, so it's kind of sad to see the end come so fast, but the thing is, we're already here at this point. But I'm going to make it last as much as possible, which is why I'm going to break out the notepad to let myself know that I still got 5 other blasters left to talk about. Episode 673 is going to be a good starting point for that. My blaster of choice for this very occasion is going to be another blaster from the Super lineup. Yeah. You ever want to call it Elite 2.0 when we already have an Elite out there and it just so happens to do a whole lot better than this ever has? And it's not to say that the lineup itself, Super, has gotten terrible, but I will just point out that right off the bat, with 8 blasters that came out last summer, there has really been a lot of things going about it that has made us realize that these blasters were probably no more than just mere cutouts of certain blasters that we've had back then. This one is pretty much just a combination of the Spectre Rev 5, but has the cylinder of some other blasters out there. It may have the slide, like the Spectre. It may have a bunch of tactical rails on it, like some of the Modulus blasters that we've gotten. It may have a cylinder that can fit up to 6 darts like the Maverick Strong Arm or Spylight even. And it certainly does have a lot of, well, modular compatibility with a barrel and stock adapter, also like that of Modulus blasters. So it's a mere combination of some of these things out there. But that's certainly not saying much. I've only just begun to pretty much scrape out the entire iceberg until it's shattered into a bunch of pieces and pretty much dissolves in the ocean. So, the thing is that this one right here, if you haven't already figured it out, then well, I'm not calling this the Commander. It may say that on both sides. One is highlighted and one is not highlit, but it may say Commander, but I'm instead calling it the Corrector. Yeah, Corrector. It might sound redundant at first, but I feel like I'd much rather take something redundant than a name that's totally rehashed. Now, you might be wondering where the name Commander originally takes place, and it was actually a bit of a long story that I've talked about some time ago, where I've talked about how the Alpha Trooper has had a series of problems going on with its naming, because it started off with the Alpha Trooper back in the N-Strike lineup over a decade ago, and then in 2012 and 2013 we managed to get ourselves a second Alpha Trooper-esque blaster, also called the Alpha Trooper. Yeah, same exact name. They didn't even try there, but they did in fact try when they released the Retaliator and Rampage, instead of calling them the Recon and Raider again. That right there was just proof that you can do anything. As long as you gave it a different name to offer some distinction, then you can basically make it a lot easier for the public to know what kind of product they're going to get. But this one right here, it bears the name Commander, because there was a third Alpha Strike blaster out there. An Alpha Trooper blaster, not Alpha Strike. It was also called the Alpha Trooper. Yeah, it was from Elite XD, where it got that specialized orange paint job and came with a Spectre stock and a 6-star clip. I mean, really, that's 3 Alpha Troopers from 3 different lineups that have 3 different range claims, 3 different types of attachments that pretty much come with the blasters, including clips and other things here and there. But the thing is, the names, that really was quite a confusing moment. So I pretty much went ahead and did the distinction for them. Alpha Trooper for the End Strike series, Tango Renegade for the Elite series, and for the third Alpha Trooper, I'm calling it the Beta Commander. And there you go. That's where the name Commander is basically placed upon in, well, the Nerf line of toys. This right here bears that same exact title that I'd already given out to that Alpha Trooper. And I was already in my 4th season of Nerf Secrets Revealed when I pretty much gave that news out to the public. I was already that long in the series, and this was a while before this even came out in stores, pretty much. This was before Elite 2.0, where Super was even announced. I mean, do they ever take note from anybody? Does Nerf ever listen to someone out there? Really? Just, I mean, aside from the things that they're rehashing here, like the Spectre, well, the combination of the Spectre, the modulus blasters with the usage of a barrel and stock adapter, and a few tactical rails, and then of course you have a, well, strong arm or maybe even something like that. Basically you have a lot of things put together to make a whole new blaster, add on the different color scheme and all that, and some, well, different detailing, and here you go. You got a new blaster, pretty much. But let me just be more honest about this. As this is in fact a new blaster that we got, I pretty much laid down my point of view on this thing already back in Aftersaw, but basically speaking, this blaster actually does do fairly decent performance. The range claims that the Super Series has pretty much been putting out there is around 85 feet. Which is 10 feet longer than that of Elite blasters, but Super has not necessarily managed to do the same exact sort of principle. But honestly, I might as well go ahead and describe the process that I have pretty much feel like is justifiable at this point. Where Hasbro pretty much puts out a range claim of somewhere around 75, 85 feet to pretty much get a good justification of the full potential of the blaster. But as I've said earlier, it more or less depends on the terrain, on the wind, on the plane, on the angulation of the blaster. Its full potential could actually be 85 feet, like what the range claim says on the boxes of the Super Blasters themselves. But for something like this, if we wanted to really see something of that sort take place, then, well, we'd actually have to go find out a good range test video out there. I don't really know if Random Shadow 09 would be a good candidate, seeing as that channel has not necessarily been doing very well throughout the last few years, but again, it pretty much depends on what's going on. But I can say that this blaster in particular, it may rip off some things. It may have a couple issues here that are probably an easy fix, some of which may not be as easy, but as a blaster, this one actually is pretty good in and of itself. As I've said before in Aftersaw, it has some rather good ergonomics. Kind of surprising. And then of course you have many other things, including its Spectre slide on the top. Rather good firing. And some people have even managed to get some good chronograph testing. And I'm sorry if I don't have my own here. I can't really do any of my own without one. So, no chronograph testing on my end, but this really does actually do pretty good around here. You can also get very creative with it and pretty much get yourself some good accessories to put on here like this. Little side note, this actually belongs to another blaster in the Super lineup, which I will also be talking about before all of this comes to an end. But, mainly speaking, the Corrector, out of all blasters in the Super Series, this is probably one of the only ones that seem to be very good in most ways. Because we have pretty much gotten ourselves some complaints out there that the super lineup has pretty much been rushed. And that's probably a result why 8 blasters that come from the series so far may not do as good as it's promised by Hasbro themselves. But the way I see it, my Corrector and pretty much every other one of those blasters that I got, they happen to do alright for what they are. So maybe they aren't the best, but I certainly cannot say that these are terrible. Because the color scheme is really nice and fluent, and looks pretty smooth actually for something that had been rushed. I guess they must have spent a little bit more time to work on all this, and maybe have waited on the advertising and then had them released. I can't really be sure. Maybe they didn't advertise them a while ago, like they usually would do to some of their products before they released them, but for all 8 blasters in the Super Series, I do have yet to get to the rest of them, but maybe by then, if I do in fact get a hold of all 8 blasters and pretty much talk about them all in their individual reviews here, because there might actually be a sequel to Flying with the Foam here on Honest Shade Nowak. It'll be a while though before that even happens, but until then, I could sure say that this has been quite a ride. But we still have a few more blasters left to talk about, and in this case, I'll just go ahead and continue on with it. So if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.